My name is Tim Law with the Tennis for Kids program, and anyway, I just want to introduce somebody I've known for a long time, Phil Myers. He is the teaching pro at Wisehaven Tennis Center. He has an extensive background not only in tennis but also with the Tennis for Kids program. He started this as a 7-year-old himself. Then he went on to be an instructor over at Farker Park for 7 years himself. Went on to then play at York College for singles and for doubles. Has a tremendous extensive experience. He's also a USPT Pro certified tennis instructor, and he is going to be presenting this video that I think will really help your kids, your site directors and parents, and the kids themselves. If you watch it, it's going to really help your progress. The more progress you make, the more excited you get about this great sport of ours. So check it out, watch it closely, watch it several times, and I think it's going to give you a good idea of just how much better your kids can be. Okay, thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Phil Myers, Director of Wisehaven Tennis Center, and if you're watching this, that means that you've decided to undertake the noble calling of being a Tennis for Kids instructor this summer. What we're going to do in the next 20 minutes is go over some very, very basic drills and very basic fundamentals that we want to get all of our players working towards this summer at Tennis for Kids. So we're going to start out with one of the most basic principles in tennis, and that is the skill of rallying. Okay, the idea that we're going to get a cooperative drill going back and forth between two players right here. So I have with me a couple of members of the Northeastern high school tennis team today, and they're going to demonstrate several of these drills. So the first one that we're going to work with is just the most basic form of rallying. We call it roll splat. So one player is going to roll the ball to his partner. His partner will stop it by pancaking it and then rolling it back to his partner again. If you can accomplish this, then congratulations, you've just learned how to rally. Okay guys, that looks good. There you go. Yes. Now remember, try to get it out so that you're hitting that ball from your backhand side or your forehand side. We want to learn how to receive the ball in front of us. Take your time. Speed is not the key here, okay? Doing it correctly is the key. Good. Excellent. And that's roll splat. Okay, and we're back with the next step in the progression. We just learned how to roll splat. Again, a basic rallying drill. So this time we're actually going to learn on a quick little drill called bump up. Okay, so what we have is we have the target in the middle of the court. We have two players surrounding the target, and they are going to try to hit the target on every rally. Okay? Go ahead, guys. And so what you want here is to make sure that the ball is going up to eye level. You do not want somebody to cheat and just kind of try to dump the ball down. The idea is to keep the rally going as long as possible while both players kind of work towards the collective goal of hitting the target. And so eventually, we get this result with these two moving their feet a ton, learning how to get into position for the shot, all while just trying to hit that target. So they have no idea, great job Lance, they have no idea that they're actually moving their feet. It's a footwork drill, but they don't know that. All they're worried about is that target. So we've taken a lot of the really hard thinking out of the process, made it very simple, and now these guys are better prepared for our next drill, where we're actually going to put them on opposite sides of the net. Good. All right, so we're back now with the pyramid drill. So it's one step up from the bump drill that we just did. All right, these two are on opposite sides of the net. They have their own ball pyramid now, and they're going to rally together cooperatively with the goal of trying to hit one of the other person's targets. Okay. Once that happens, you can turn it into a game, you can keep score, do whatever you want. But again, the goal here is that they learn rally skills. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. So Lance should never actually have to volley here in this situation. Every shot should be a ground stroke technically. Good, Lance. There it is. No celebration? Okay. So, like I said, turn it into a game. Maybe Eric is now up 1-0. They'll play best of 3, or they'll play first to 3 pyramid hits. Or you have the whole line going. Whenever somebody hits a pyramid, you just rotate partners. Person with the most pyramid hits at the end of the game wins. Very simple. All right, next drill we're going to be looking at is just your basic mini tennis rally. So these two, again, I can't stress how important targets are when you're trying to rally or trying to do drills of any kind. You should always have a target on the court. It's very important to the success of the drill. Everybody needs to know where they're hitting the ball. They need a visual cue as to where they need to target their shots. That is how they gauge their success. So these two have their targets set up. They're going to engage in just a basic ground stroke rally from the service line. Their goal should be to hit the ball in the center of their strings every single time and just take nice and relaxed swings the whole way through without really trying to overpower their partner here. And notice that I use the word partner, not opponent. They are working together on this drill. And the goal is still to hit the other person's toes. Eric, no guarding the pyramid. Okay, so timeout. So what is very important about when you're doing a drill, if the drill starts to get a little bit out of control, have no hesitation about stepping in, stopping it, kind of calming the players down a little bit and trying to get them to refocus on what the goal of the drill was. So in this case, I'm going to take Eric and Lance to the net. I'm going to discuss with them really quickly what the goal is and try to get them to break it down into a simpler form. Guys, to the net. So now we're back at it. All right, so now we've stepped back. We're at the baseline. This is pretty much as far as it goes. So these two are going to rally in a cross-court ground stroke rally, and hopefully at this point, they are able to keep, I would say a solid 10 balls in a row in. That's our goal. We've worked our way through roll splat the whole way up to this point. The idea is that they gain rally skills throughout the way. If somebody gets to a point where they can't execute the drill properly, sometimes that means that we should take a step back and we should continue to work on the drill that we were just on before we can reach the next step in the progression. But now these two should be able to get this ground stroke drill going now. And so there we have it. These guys executed a solid cross-court rally. They were going for the targets. They didn't quite hit the targets. It's very difficult at this range, but at this point, if you're going to turn it into a game, it's pretty much first person to actually hit the target wins the game. It will take a long time to get to that point. All right, so now we're on to something a little bit more complicated than just simple rallying. We're actually going to talk about some really basic mechanics on the ground strokes, and I have Lance here with me, and he's going to help me model the forehand ground stroke. Now there's three main components that we really want to stress here. The first component is called the unit turn. So Lance, if you will, please. So Lance is going to get himself into position for his forehand by using a unit turn here. He will turn his hips and his shoulders, set his racket back, and that is your unit turn. Very basic setup for a forehand ground stroke. So which brings us to our next major component of the swing. We want to stress the contact point. So Lance is going to show us his swing, and he's going to freeze at contact now. So it should be a little bit out in front of him. It's going to be about belly button high when he makes contact with the ball. And then once he gets to this point, if he executes properly, the rest of the swing should be very easy. So the last part is the follow through. Lance should then bring his racket out, up, and then over his shoulder to generate a little bit of topspin in this situation. Very good, Lance. Nice work. So now Lance is going to model a few full speed forehands for us so he can kind of show us what the entire swing looks like when it's put together. Now for your viewing pleasure, Eric is a left-handed player. He will demonstrate a few lefty forehands for us from the same angles as Lance did before with his righty forehand. Okay, so we're back with Lance again. We're going to look at now the right-handed player's backhand in this scenario. So again, same concept as the forehand. We're looking for three major components here: the unit turn, the contact point, and the follow-through. Everything is basically the same here. The unit turn is still the same. He uses his hips and his shoulders, not his arms. He tries to make contact in front of him at belly button level, and then he's going to follow through up over his shoulder again, just like he did with the forehand. So now we're going to see Lance hit some backhands. All right, so now we're on to the serve. Some would say that this is the most important shot in tennis. I would honestly have to agree with them. This is the only way to start a point besides the return, which, again, that's probably the second most important shot in tennis. But for right now, we're just going to focus on our serving motions. And when I say that, I have several coordination drills here to share in order to get us serving like the pros. Our first coordination drill, we're going to throw for distance. We're actually going to have these two line up like they're about to serve. They're going to load their legs the same way, and then they're going to try to throw the ball as far as they can. Now the goal here, again, you want to get height and speed. We're looking for distance. We don't want to get the ball straight up in the air right away. We don't want to get the ball thrown through the court right away. So in this situation, what we really want to do is just get our legs loaded up. So we're going to load up like we're about to serve, and then we're going to push off with our legs and throw that ball, and we're going to land in a balanced position. That's very good, Eric. Next, we're going to work on a coordination drill that builds a little bit of speed in the arm. So these guys are going to throw this ball into the ground as fast as they can. We're looking to get that bounce about as high as possible at this point. Perfect. All right, third throwing drill for our serve. These guys are going to throw the ball as high as they can for the next 5 balls. All height in. Get that ball up high. There you go. Great job. Okay, that brings us to our last throwing drill. And what we're going to do is we're going to throw for accuracy now. These two are going to try to knock the cones off the top of the cart. All right, you can set targets up in, really any position that you want to, as long as they're off the ground by a little bit. Try to get your kids to throw for a little bit of accuracy. Don't guide the ball, but just trust the motion and get a nice, smooth throwing motion when they're going after the target. Go ahead, guys. Don't guide it, throw it. All right, so now we're going to go into the actual serving segment here, okay? I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate proper service motion here. What I want to do is make sure that my toss is going to go up straight from my hand. I'm going to bring my racket up. We're going to get into what we call trophy pose. I'm going to get that racket to drop behind my head, and then I'm going to throw it, similar to the drills that we just did with Lance and Eric. Okay, so now we're going to move on to basic volley skills at the net. I've prepared a progression of several drills here that are going to help these guys volley like, well, probably the Bryan brothers. I hope so. But we're going to move on with a really basic drill. Okay, so the starting, each of these guys have no rackets. They're going to catch every single ball. All right, and they're going to focus on their footwork. They're going to step into each ball. They're going to catch the ball out in front of them with an extended arm, hopefully. Go ahead, guys. So notice that it's a cooperative drill. The idea is that we want to keep both of them on the ground and just stepping into each ball. And if it comes to their left side, they're going to catch it with their left hand. It's very difficult to reach back across the body and catch with the right hand. I don't expect these guys to be Gold Glove shortstops. Underhand only, Lance. Step forward, guys. Forward. Make sure you step into. Yeah. Step, catch the ball in front of you. Step, catch the ball in front. Good. Step. Don't rush. Take your time. Extended arms. Let's get the arms out. There you go. Arms out. Arms out. Good. Arms out. Good. So now we have this very basic skill down. When they actually pick their rackets up and they start to volley, they want to mimic the catching motion. You want no backswing whatsoever. You want no forward swing. All you want to do is get that racket in the right position, hold that racket out there, catch it, and then you go for the finish. A lot of the work done on volleys happens with the feet and very quiet hands. But back to the second step of the progression, one player now has a racket, the other player is still tossing and catching. This will make sure that both of them are engaged the entire drill, but one of them is working on very basic volley skills right now. He's trying to direct the ball back to his partner with each volley, and he's trying to mimic the catching motion that we just worked with. Eric, fix the grip. sure a lot of you watching this are probably wondering where Eric's continental grip is. I'm wondering that myself. I don't know. All right, now switch roles. So after a timed period, both players are generally going to switch roles. You're going to do the drill, the second half of the drill, then for the exact same amount of time. Or you can go until they have a certain goal to meet. Maybe they want to catch 50 balls. Okay, 50 successful volleys, 50 successful catches. All right, so we've mastered the toss, the hit, and the catch at this point. So what we're gonna do on the next part of the drill, they both now have rackets. They're just gonna try to consistency volley back and forth between themselves and give them a goal in this case. Maybe try to get 20 balls in a row without the ball hitting the ground or somebody missing a shot. Cooperative, Eric. Eric is still in mid-season form. He's trying to put the ball away on the net man. Good, guys. Good. All right, there you have it. Really basic volley consistency drill. All right, so those are the 3 steps that we want to take just to introduce our kids to the volley this summer. All right, so we have one more fantastic drill to share with you. This is a bread and butter drill here at Wisehaven. We use this for a lot of our coaching needs when it comes to ground strokes. We call it throw, hit, and catch. Now what it does, you have 3 to 4 players usually engaged in this drill. Everybody has to pay attention. They have to work together for this to work out. All right, you're competing against several other teams normally. So what I have set up right now, I have Lance over at the baseline. He's gonna be our hitter. Okay, I have Eric at the net. He's going to be our thrower. He's only going to be throwing underhand. That's a very important part of ball tracking for the hitter. So that thrower must throw underhand every time that they throw a ball over that hitting side. And then I'm in position to catch the ball. So every time we do it successfully, Eric has a good throw, Lance hits the ball well onto this half of the court, and then I catch it, we count as a point. So in a time period, say 2 to 3 minutes, we want to try to get more successful catches than the other teams do while they're competing against us. One. Four.